Alright, so testing. It's been a week since we've been live. Some family stuff came up last week, which required some in real life time. So things happen, unfortunately. I know we really wanted to be streaming last week. Got a lot more ongoing in life in the coming weeks, but we're live this week. I did not play O'Doyle's Rofellos list, as I frankly haven't had the time to go card by card and re-include it into the party. Instead, we went and found a kind of Amy the Amazonian list from a couple months back, so we are playing a pretty powerful Rofellos list. Now, for those of you who don't know Rofellos is one of the obscene elf cards that does broken elf things, much like, Elvish Archdruid, Priest of Titania. While those tend to emphasize the number of elves you control, or, things like, Sylvan... I cannot remember the name of the card. The one that taps for number of mana equal to the number of creatures you control. This one instead taps for the number of forests. So obviously you generally only play this in a mono green deck. And obviously with it being your commander, you're playing mostly basic forests anyway. Few utility lands in this list, most notably Cavern and Nykthos. But for the most part, you're playing a bunch of basic forests to take advantage of Rofellos. And then from there, it's a mono green ramp deck. I mean, you've seen a ton of those, whether we've played against Rofellos, whether we've played against Azusa. They're all trying to do relatively similar things. They're trying to play a bunch of lands, trying to ramp real early, and then play broken green or colorless drops to take over the game. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different things you can do, things that we don't have in this list, like Tooth and Nail, March of the Ents, etc. There's a number of cards you can do that makes this card, and then just cast game-breaking sorceries. This one instead opts mainly for game-breaking creatures. You have your 1-drops, Wirewood Symbiont, return an elf you control to its owner's hand, untap that target creature. Obviously, you have quite a few elves in this deck. Obviously, it plays very well with Rofellos. You have your early mana drops. Burgeoning is... This card can be quite broken in multiplayer especially, but can obviously be pretty decent in a duel. Then you're playing Allosaurus Rider to make yourself uncounterable. The Mox is usually pretty broken. Your 2-drops, Fnatic Aronas, can be quite powerful. Lotus Cobra is usually a must-kill. Sprint Heart and Tuco, and Shoot Swarm, so you both make an absurd amount of creatures when you're hitting your land drops. And, Azusa, the card we've talked about, making land drops. Harrow gets you additional land drops. Loot allows you to play off the top of your deck. This is another, sometimes one you'll see broken. You'll see this sometimes as the commander, and is quite broken once you get it rolling. Tireless Provisioner, no Tireless Tracker in this list. Kind of surprised there, but I guess you can only play so many 3-drops. World Weave, whenever you cast this creature spell, it's an arena-only card, put a land on the battlefield. Tertiary Stomper. The card that can technically go infinite here is untap target creature, untap this artifact. So basically, if Rofellos is, I think, at 5, you're technically infinite. Pay 3 to untap creature, 1 to untap staff. So once you have 5 forests in play, it's infinite. Draw your deck, play your deck. Obviously a little bit inconvenient on arena. You'll run out of time, but it's an absurd way to draw some cards. Gain some life, kind of win the game that way. And then, various different things. Beast Whisperer allows you to draw a bunch of cards when you're playing your creatures. Mythical Pox, where you play a non-token land, you get another token. Oracle Moldiah allows you to play lands off the top of your deck and initial land drops. Ice Till Explorer is a newer one. Allows you to play additional lands, and then you can play lands from your graveyard. So basically this is a combination of both Oracle will die his ability to play lands, as well as the 3 mana one that used to allow you to play Excavator, something 3 mana Excavator. So, I mean, that's the thing, is there's almost an embarrassment of riches for mono green. Obviously, the problem is if your early ramp gets blown up, or you don't have the right balance of ramp and targets, sometimes you'll have problems. But I mean, your main thing, ramp into big idiots. You know, and speaking of big idiots, you have Vaultborn Tyrant, allows you to draw cards. Nissa and Craterhoof Behemoth are kind of your ways to turn all your mana, random dorks into ways to win the game. They both pump your thing. Vorinclex is a very obnoxious card once it's on the battlefield. Your lands tap for double. Your opponents, whenever they tap, they basically get a stun counter. Cityscape Leveler answers various threats. Portal to Phyrexia, just an obnoxiously powerful artifact. And then basically every non-Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn big dumb threat you can play in the Eldrazi selection. So, like I said, a number of things you can play out of Rofellos. Attack with 30 creatures. Let's see if we can get better. Yep, green or blue spells. Perfect with our Rofellos here. Once again, shout out to Amy the Amazonian for this list. I have not messed with it or played with it, but Rofellos tends to be fairly straightforward. You ramp into stuff, you play big stuff, or you do nothing and die. So, Glorious Amaticia. Yeah, we do the thing, so we'll play it. And just search the library for a lane card, put on the battlefield tapped. Okay, we start with Bird is the word. Okay, and also ramps. So which one do we want to play first? It's a good chance whatever we play dies, so I guess we play Nissa since we get quite a bit out of it next turn. Fnatic, Ronus, and a monkey. Alright, so play Scoot Swarm. Green. Green, green, green. All you need is green. Shy is obviously kind of a dumb card. So we can pitch this to get 2 forests. We draw a land, we can use a Shia to turn all these basically into forests and kind of go nuts. And this is kind of what Rofellos just does. Even without your commander, you can kind of go a little nuts. Okay, big bunch of triggers. Triggers everything, because now everything's a bloody land. Okay. I think we might break arena here very shortly. And we kill you. Well, that's eye-opening how stupid a shot you can be in this deck. Not too much out of the red-green deck that can deal with a 64-64 on turn... Even on turn 4? Yep. That was a big dumb idiot. Rofellos is kind of cracked. Not that we didn't already know that from playing against it. One might call that turn a smashing success. Alright, we go from which deck knew the broken crab first? Yeah, sounds fine, I think. Keep. Play the forest, play the Utopia Sprawl. Green, green, green. All you need is green. Let's see how potentially dumb of a card World Weave can be. So if we play Rofellos, still have 3 mana to play a Stomper. Or do we play a Loot? I guess we play a Loot. Force them to decide which broken card they want to deal with. Yeah, I should have put that back in my hand. Oh well. Force of habit. Some kind of dumb card we can hit here. If that's some type of stifle trigger, that'd be kind of annoying. Dia, play a forest off the top. We can play Vivi here, but the question is, do they? Does make me wonder which card they have under their control, though. Opponent's clearly got something that they're hoping to cash in on here. I think we're going to name Elf. There's a bounce spell here, maybe Cryptic Command? Not the card you've been chilling on. Okay, Burgeoning is definitely a card I don't want to draw anyway. Activate loot. This should trigger whatever stifle effect they've been showing on. Alright, and our opponent finally gives up. VV didn't do busted VV things, so... Rofellos versus Rofellos. May the best ramp deck win. This thing doesn't particularly ramp. Mulligan. Try it, but the sand's not much better. Sure. Guess the only true advantage we have here is the fact that we Rofellos first. Play a land, play a Shia. Play a land, play that. Sure. Play a land. Tap for green. Another creature you control 4 power greater, draw a card, if a token, create a token, it's an artifact, missions, other abilities. Another creature control. With 5 mana still. Fun. I think we're just going to get outrun by this Ouroboros nonsense. Especially since all we have in hand is lands. I only question why they didn't put the swords on the birds. But sure. Staff of Domination. Tap Rofellos. Tap target creature. Draw a card. Do 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 do. All right. Draw a card. Untap staff. Draw a card. Play that out. Tap staff. Draw. Tap target creature. Untap staff. Tap target creature. Untap. Tap staff. Tap target creature. So 9, 20. Yeah, it's just lethal. Could have drawn our whole deck, but I mean, I really don't want to get carpal tunnel just to win a game of Magic. So, in paper, if you were playing that in Commander, it's also infinite. There's a very similar combo in a lot of the Duretti decks with Metalworker and Staff of Domination. You tap Metalworker, reveal 3 artifact cards, get 6 untap mana, untap Staff of Domination. Kind of go nuts from there. But yeah, that's a kind of annoying but broken infinite combo. It's not quite the same as Tooth and Nail for... I think O'Doyle had Tooth and Nail for Sirach and Emrakul the Aeon's Torn. While it's not lethal, hitting your opponent for 18 flying damage, or no, 15 flying damage and annihilating 6 tends to be very game ending in a lot of situations. So look at the top 9 cards, exile 2 of them. Sure. Feels like a whatchamacallit-esque deck. Yeah, our opponent has a fatal push or something here. Whenever creature has put a red counter on the chance, or seek a non-land. It's an interesting card. Good chance Rofellos just dies, but yep, shocker. Guess we'll replay Rofellos, but good chance it just dies again. This is where you kind of get tripped up a little bit. Let's go ahead and play with the Hauntwoods. Sure. Alright, grab one, play one. Basically get to empty our entire hand. Alright. Me and opponent gets to grab some stuff off top of our deck, but they don't really get to cast much with it, so guess they realized the handwriting was on the wall there. Alright, welcome to the broken Rofellos things stream. So yeah, after kind of weeks of streams of grinding things out with Dimir control, yeah, no. Time to we'll try it, but I really hate playing against Gabriel. Play that out. Okay, our opponent's probably chilling on a sweeper here then. Staff of Completion. Is there any way to get ahead this turn? Play that out. Play that out. Play this. A forest. And then we just lose hard to a sweeper here. Might also potentially lose to Gabriel, but we just lose to like a Damnation or something. It's kind of an obnoxious card. I don't know. Destroy all non-artifact creatures. Play this one out just to draw a card. Yep, put that back in the command zone. go ahead and go to put our opponent to 3, and they draw a card off of Sad Robots. It's overall kind of a dumb card. Do you have another sweeper? Or some other broken play here? And they do not. So we won through a sweeper there, mainly because Waltboard Tyrant is just kind of a dumb card. Alright, Rofellos versus Felthar. This hand doesn't really ramp, so I think we'll have to mulligan it. Yeah, +1/+1 counters matter. This hand at least ramps a little bit, although it's not much better than the first one. Basically, this is if a Rofellos dies, this hand doesn't do much. With a Gilded Goose. No reason not to play out Mox Amber here. I mean, Thoughtseize is a thing. It's unlikely our opponent would take it, but hey, you never know. So notably, I guess our opponent can play their commander here, although interesting. Very interesting opening. Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, so do Rofellos play a land, Tokyo Sprawl on a land. Name green, shocking, I know. Mm-hmm. Is that a non-land permanent? Yep. See what we can hit, I suppose. Beast Whisperer. Which mana do I currently have access to? So 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess we can technically play both. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8. That first, just in case. Nope, we hit. Okay, that's annoying, but kind of whatever. Let's make a 1. Don't really think we have any way to win this game, so play out Nissa, then we can play Vorinclex, but we start by playing Vorinclex. Play out Nissa, and then we just die to the flyers. Yep, we just die to our opponent having flyers. The Stula Knight's Blessed. Viceroy of Plunder. Sacrifice another creature artifact with +1/+1 counter on it. The sacrifice permanent. Treasure gains lifelink. Activate only as a sorcery. Actually an interesting one. Keep this hand. It's definitely on the more questionable side of sure. All right. Staff is a good draw. It does mean let's force you to have a kill spell here, shall we? Now you're left in, I guess, a not too awkward spot. Yeah, the command zone, that's fine. Let's go ahead and ramp a bit. Okay. Let's play Loot into Staff of Domination. Well, that's an obnoxious combination. Okay, so activate only as a sorcery, so they cannot do it during my turn. Good to know. Take the hit for now. And we die because I'm not paying attention to what the heck my opponent's doing. Got it. Versus Arna, Canura, and Sky Captain on Esper deck. Motherfuckers get double limit. Then, for each non-token permanent attached to it, create a copy. Alrighty then. This hand's a bit better. Turn 1, Delighted Halfling. So I'm going to cast Swords to Plowshares. Should have Probably actually cast Rofellos there. Sure. So okay, do you have sweepers in your deck? Guess we'll find out shortly. This deck has a lot of different mechanisms, like different landfall things, etc. I do wonder if it doesn't lack a little bit in the card draw department. Because like we have all this mana, but we really have nothing much to do with it this turn. Opponent's got a very curious mana base. It's kind of annoying, but also whatever. Mortarpod can kill Rofellos, which is annoying. Again, we just sit here and twiddle our thumbs because we have nothing to do with all this mana. Obviously, Mortarpod can be used to gun down Rofellos at any point. Well, I guess technically not at the moment, but this is such a weird card. Just let this happen. Turn. Pretty sure that's lethal. That will definitely be lethal. We'll play one more tonight. Against the reality chip. Keep this one, I suppose. Play that. Play edge of bottom. Question is, what do you do here, my friend? Turn that to my hand. As much fun as a Shia is, we'll just continue playing lands. Surveils does nothing. Mindstone. Beast Whisperer. Alright, and our opponent concedes to what is Rofellos stupidity. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of cards that have come up even in the last couple months. You know, cards like Exploration, Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, Tooth and Nail. I mean, there's a lot of different options you have, even from this list from a couple months ago by Amy the Amazonian. You know, it does feel like we're a little late on 1 and 2 drops, but then again, and then even in the 3-drop slot, you're not playing things like Tireless Tracker. Now, obviously, you know, things like Eldamari, you know, Loot are all kind of broken cards. Azusa can be very situational if you run out of land drops pretty quickly, but you do have ways of playing lands from your graveyard. You know, Ice Chill Explorer, you may push no lands, you may play lands from your graveyard. This is kind of a combination of ramming up Excavator, and it, you know, it's kind of self-enabling in some regards. And then obviously the deck has a huge top end, whether it be the Great Henge, whether it be the different ways to end the game. Really didn't see Korgla, or Kogla, and some other stuff. Didn't see Primetime, but we know how dumb Primetime can be. Although, albeit in this deck, Primetime isn't the best. We don't have that many utility lands. You have Nykthos, you have Cavern, and then a bunch of forests. Obviously, you can't play too many, you know, weird Rofellos things. So, deck is pretty good. But you are kind of limited to the mono green thing. Obviously, we won a lot with this one. Deck's very powerful. You just kind of got to evaluate your opening hands. You know, can you cast your stuff? You know, hopefully you have some type of engine card. Obviously, you could slap things like the One Ring in here, etc., and try to draw a bunch of cards. But if you look at, I think the one thing I wanted to look at was how many actual card advantage spells we had. You have Staff of Domination with Rofellos. Obviously, you can draw a ton of cards with that. Augur of Autumn can be a card advantage engine. 6 can be a card advantage engine. Loot can, to a certain degree, be card advantage. Tireless Tracker would be if it wasn't in this one. Jump to one target land from your the battlefield. Really didn't get a chance to see this one in action. Ice Till here obviously can be a card advantage engine. Beast Whisper, Oracle, Moldiah. Really, I mean, I guess Born Klex can be eventually. Voltborn Tyrant can be. Great Henge. You know, and then some of your top end here, you can obviously be some. So there is some sources of card draw, but it really does feel like you might want like a couple more ways of drawing things. What is it? Llanowar. Llanowar. Oh, that one taps for 3 mana. Llanowar Visionary is a little bit slow. So, I mean, the deck is busted. I'm not going to lie there, but if your opponent can survive the busted draws, sometimes it's problematic, but you can only do so much. But anyways, if you do like Brawl and Commander content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you for next week's stream. See ya.